our kids or our kids' kids, whatever, they're going to look back on the last 30 years of games and just go, what were you guys doing? You were being had.
Welcome back. In part one, we looked at the state of gaming and some of the reasons gamers might hate NFTs, and we presented some filmmaking in Unreal Engine because, well, we just wanted to show you that we understand what it's like to work in a game engine. And it was pretty cool, although pretty hard. Now let's get back to the real reason we're here.
Let's just do it. Let's meet this thing head on.
Why do gamers hate NFTs so much?
I haven't found a single reason why NFTs should be normalized in video games other than it helps some people, a certain percentage of people at the top of the pyramid, and certain companies make a whole lot of money.
So those previous reasons, honestly, you can throw them in the bin. They're meaningless. This is the one that matters. And to understand this properly, we have to go back to the 2017 release of EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. The publisher decided it wanted to create a new stream of revenue by introducing a loot crate system. Complete objectives, and they would reward players with a random chance to win items or upgrades they needed to progress in the game. In other words, this left the acquisition of in-game items and upgrades up to chance.
Wow, winning.
Now, players could grind their way through 40 hours of gameplay to unlock a single hero, or they could purchase loot crates with real money and shortcut the whole process, as long as you were lucky enough to get the item you wanted, which wasn't guaranteed.
You're either winning or you're losing. There's nothing in between.
The accusation that this was tantamount to gambling. EA backtracked and removed the microtransaction mechanic for good, but those microtransactions have become synonymous with greedy publishers looking to extract maximum value from gamers who already paid a handsome price just for the privilege of playing the game in the first place.
We've seen it with microtransactions, we've seen it with battle passes, we've seen it with season passes. These things always get bad before they get good or regulated. They always see, and I mean like industry, people and publishers, they always see how much they can get away with, how much they can nickel and dime with us before there's a backlash like Star Wars Battlefront 2, where they kind of say, all right, we're not going to be this bad anymore, and then they do something else. But it will get to that point, because it always gets to that point.
Here's what YouTuber Operator Drewski had to say.
To me, this is a blatant signal that you're just milking the Ghost Recon franchise for literally every cent, while putting in minimal effort into the actual game itself. I'm not playing a Geo game in the future if there's this level of degeneracy in the team. You took a solid franchise and absolutely made it a laughing stock.
And here's the story of a young Redditor who wrote of his addiction to gambling through microtransactions. He said, I don't blame any of my choices on any company that have microtransactions. My choices are my own, and so is my addiction. I just wish someone had told me of the dangers before I started. Gamers don't trust developers. They've seen this pattern before, being brute forced into a situation they didn't want.
The way that NFTs are being pushed at the end of last year and at the start of this year reminds me of the age-old trick that the video game industry likes to do, and that's say something so many times until they can manifest it and make it real. It's like when they said that single-player games were dead, it's like when they said that consoles were dead, it's like when they said that mobile games were the future. You know what I mean? If they just say it without giving you any proof, without giving you any statistics, they kind of want to will it into existence, and that's the exact same vibe I get from NFTs, because like they're even pointing it out, it seems like so many people have reservations, so many people are saying this is not what we want, but they're forging ahead anyway, and they're going all in on just committing to putting them in their games over the future and future releases, and it's just like, I'm embracing myself for impact, my friend. I'm embracing myself.
They see these huge publishers that are already making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're basically cramming NFTs into their already existing game. I do think that deserves some criticism. That, just like we saw with free to play, saw the same thing really, right? Publishers, we'll just take our game and see it to this day, and we'll make it free and put in in-app purchases, and it's just gonna work. No.
When Ubisoft launched its Quartz NFT trailer, It hit a 96% dislike rating from viewers, showing just how badly let down gamers felt. You had to play 600 hours of Ghost Recon Breakpoint just to earn the Wolf Enhanced Helmet A NFT item. 600 hours.
Yeah. You know, good luck. You're gonna need it. I'm gonna be over here, like, winning.
And the rarity or scarcity of items that NFT proponents value so much is another kick in the teeth for gamers who believe it just encourages greed, promotes speculation, and deliberately excludes people when gaming is supposed to be inclusive.
When you have unique, rare items that you allow the players to sell, they can take advantage of other players. It's not good for the player, it's good for people to make money. It's not good for an experience of the game and the player. It's good for literally a marketplace, what these things are. They're marketplaces for people to make money, business, entrepreneurship. It's not good for the player or the game. Like, I got this knife skin for $2,000. It's you look like a jackass. No, it was like, wow, you paid $2,000 for that no one's gonna care about in like 10 years? Very cool, jackass. No.
Worse yet, these rare items create a paradigm that actually encourages developers to create problems in the game so that they can then flog players the solution.
Nothing about this has actually pushed the boundaries of game design or whatever forward. All they're doing is just like selling stuff to people to treat as an investment.
So gamers are making their voices heard, and it's why they cheered Dan's film so loudly. They finally had someone who could speak for them, and it's why they fight NFT communities so hard. They're fed up of getting screwed.
Way to go, gamers. Man, I hate that word. Yet again, you are the last line of defense, gamers, against... What do gamers defend against, Lawrence?
Bruce, against the soulless co-opting of the world's best and most noble pastime by blind, capitalistic greed. That's what.
Every day on LinkedIn, there's another look at my blockchain conference, look at my blockchain this, oh, here's 10 ways you're missing out and not being in blockchain and blah, 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 blah. In 2 years, this shit will all be gone. Trust me. And right now, your fear that you're going to miss out on this great opportunity, I'm telling you, it's not a great opportunity. And not only is it not a great opportunity, you're doing real, possibly irreparable damage to an industry that I love very deeply. And I would like you to cut it the fuck out.
Nicolas Pouard, VP at Ubisoft Strategic Innovations Lab, gave an interview recently to Finder in which he doubled down on the company's commitment to NFTs. This is what he said. I think gamers don't get what a digital secondary market can bring to them. For now, because of the current situation and context of NFTs, gamers really believe it's first destroying the planet and second, just a tool for speculation. But what we are seeing first is the end game. The end game is about giving the players the opportunity to resell their items once they're finished with them or they're finished playing the game itself. So it's really for them, it's really beneficial, but they don't get it for now. Ooh, that last sentence was the final straw. You're telling us we don't get it? Fuck you.
Ubisoft thinks you're an idiot for not wanting to give them more money. Okay.
Man, have you seen the amount of shit Ubisoft just got over releasing Ubisoft Quartz, their NFT platform? You call that enthusiasm? Man, it's like these people have a humiliation fetish. People like getting peed on? What the fuck?
As the gap between those with the power, those making the decisions, widens, those at the other end have become more and more disillusioned and vocal. And I wonder, does that remind you of something?
This is really a convergence of a few different things. Number one, finally, the little guy has the ability to fight back through a convergence of technology, the platforms for trading, the ability to communicate as a group. So in the past, you could have never done this before. So there are two types of short sellers in this world. There's the legitimate ones that's a natural part of the market, and there's another part that are these hedge funds that gang up and literally will short a stock almost down to zero, out of business. They try to spread negative news, they'll start investigations, and that's what started with GameStop, massively overshorting the stock. And this, I think, as you said, connects to a far bigger thing than just trying to make a few bucks on a trade. This is about the end of the movie, The Big Short, where, like I said, all the bad guys went to jail. Ha, just kidding.
So I had a lot of fun researching this film, and I was struck by how very similar game and Web3 communities are. Gamers feel screwed by big publishers. Web3 proponents are fed up of big tech, Web2 and governments screwing them. Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, is a gamer. There's an element of Freud's narcissism of small differences too here, that communities with adjoining territories and close relationships are especially likely to engage in feuds and mutual ridicule because of hypersensitivity to tiny details of differentiation.
Here's the dirty little secret about this space. People who are into blockchain and are into even blockchain games, even if they're just speculators or, because a lot of the games don't exist. These people, for many of them, are actually gamers too. They play normal games, probably like yourself. They play League of Legends and Fortnite. They're waiting for kind of this next generation of blockchain games, I think, to come that are higher quality and easy to play. And they're waiting for that to come together so they can sort of unite their interests.
And here's another dirty little secret. PC gamers, the ones shrieking on YouTube and Reddit, they're the minority.
How do you plan on winning that war?
With zeal and focus and violent hatred.
Data.ai and IDC posted a 2021 gaming spotlight which highlighted some interesting statistics. It showed mobile gaming was accelerating the entire global gaming market, seeing 50% more consumer spend than all other forms of gaming combined. The majority of the mobile gaming audience is made up of women.
What kind of girls are in their home? I said girls.
And their average gaming session lasts 25% longer than for men. Words with Friends and Candy Crush are the games they played the most. So I did a fun experiment. I tried to find a video presented by a woman hating on NFTs on YouTube in some kind of weird take on the Bechdel test, and I couldn't find one. Not a single one. Now, it's tempting to read this as male PC gamers feeling under threat by an industry that is exploding in ways that they don't feel comfortable with. Women, how dare you? It's probably not as simple as that, but you can see a pattern emerging here. The loudest voices against NFTs don't really represent the majority. They just seem to really like shouting.
Oops, winning.
Fuck Square Enix, fuck Ubisoft, and fuck every other company that joins this trend. This is bullshit, and this is just one that frankly should be mocked to the ends of the earth.
For all that though, there is one big idea here that does resonate with me, and it's an important one. Games are meant to be fun. That's it.
Are we having fun yet?
When you make them work, when you add earning in them, when you add economies to them, they lose the very thing that made them the escape gamers were after in the first place. The whole point is that they're not work. This may not sound important, but it really is the most important thing of all.
Cha-ching!
Gamers don't mind working hard to progress in a game, but it's on their own terms. And they may not spend money, but they spend time, and that time is precious. They don't mind forking out for a pimped out PC, but again, it's on their own terms, unless of course the greedy crypto miners are buying up all the graphics cards. This is something that's almost entirely missing from Web3 at the moment. And could it be that gamer NFT hate is really just a case of projecting all their fear of powerlessness and getting screwed by publishers in a space that seems to be evolving out of their control onto a young technology with obvious flaws that they can easily attack?
We want video games. We want games to play and have fun. Maybe throw us some DLC or whatever. We move on to the next one. We go on about our lives. We don't want, like, your average gamer does not give a shit about owning this. Oh, look, I got a pink rabbit and he's got gold teeth. You can have him in your game, but you got to give me $500. Nobody wants that.
If NFTs and blockchain could provably add to the gaming experience in a way that didn't add a marketplace or a price tag and the accompanying predatory hucksters, then they'd probably be first in line to welcome it in. Believe it or not, the vast majority of developers working in blockchain, well, they're not scammers, and they're as appalled by this behavior as gamers are. But you have to ask, do gamers really have it so good right now?
Hey, we're on the same page, no one wants the extraction, no one wants the corporate corruption, no one wants the scams and the hacking. That's certainly not what this is about. But if you're going to put that same level of the standard to judge this technology, then you'll have to do that with cash and ask yourself if that stuff happens with cash. Or if the current way of having big publishers basically own whatever digital things they want and sell them to you so that you're just renting them and you don't actually own them, then keep playing into that system. There's nothing wrong with that.
Zerion is mission control for Web3, giving users the ability to trade DeFi tokens, transfer assets across chains, and show off their NFT collections all in one place. Zerion offers a multi-chain experience with asset tracking and trading across 7 networks, including Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum, and BSC, so you'll never miss an opportunity waiting on gas fees to drop. NFT owners can also see their favorite collectibles and art as widgets on their iPhones or Apple Watches and send them to friends and family in a few clicks. Users can explore every corner of the metaverse with Zerion from their web, desktop, and mobile apps. So head to Zerion.io to connect your wallet and get started today.
The world of DeFi is so exciting right now, but it can also feel overwhelming. With all these options, it can feel impossible to know if you're getting the best prices. Matcha is here to help. Matcha searches across all the largest dexes like Uniswap, SushiSwap, Curve, and more than 60 other exchanges to get you the best prices in one easy-to-use interface. It's simple. Just search for the tokens you want to trade. Select the token pair and let Matcha find you the best price. Why use one exchange when you can use them all? Start using Matcha to make trading in DeFi easy.
Unstoppable Domains is the #1 provider of NFT domains. With your unique NFT domains such as Camilla.crypto or Camilla.nft, you can replace your long, complex wallet addresses, verify ownership of your NFTs, log into Web3 apps, and join tens of thousands of people using them as their Twitter usernames. Better yet, with Unstoppable Domains, you don't have to worry about gas or renewal fees, and you own them forever. Go to unstoppabledomains.com and get your name, .crypto, .x, .nft, or a range of other endings for as low as $5. So if you look out there, it's pretty hard to find a positive gamer side story in all of this, but I did find one. The esports team 100 Thieves released a commemorative chain replica of the necklaces their CEO Nadeshot gave his League of Legends team after they won the 2021 LCS Championship. The gamer called it a step in the right direction. Wow. Now, if we consider the primary sale of NFTs an extractive transaction for the publishers, I wonder, could there be value in a thriving secondary market between players where they reap the benefits of economic activity? Could work, right? Well, the pushback from gamers here is that this simply encourages speculators to squat on desirable assets, punishing those who might actually want to use them in a game. None of this makes the bit that matters, playing the actual game, any better at all. And this I do understand.
Seriously, load up any AAA game, and if their game doesn't work because of server issues, what will work 99.9% of the time is the cash shop, is the ability for you to buy microtransactions and be able to process them. That will always work. I guess they must get the best engineers on the planet to make sure this shit works without a single hitch. Forget if the game works, who cares?
So much of the criticism surrounding NFTs appears to be predicated on the idea that this is a static technology, that it cannot change. Games take years to produce, but blockchain moves at a pace like no other. The criticisms of the space aren't new to those who are building the solutions.
You got to be pretty daring and brave because, in past paradigm shifts in games, right? Facebook, free to play, whatever it was, mobile, there was always sort of some shining example to be like, okay, yeah, Zynga, whatever, let's do it like them. That's working. In this space, you have that with Axie, but everyone knows Axie is imperfect, including Axie.
So look, while you probably expected me to be like all hate for gamers, not at all. I come out of this film with a huge amount of grudging respect for them, but let's be honest, their industry is a long way from perfect. The Gamergate story still makes horrendous reading, and the Activision scandal with its subsequent Microsoft acquisition doesn't really paint a great picture either. The majority making the most noise here represent a shrinking minority, but we should be respectful of their passion to retain the core of what made them love this world to begin with. If there's one thing the last few years should have taught us by now, though, is that stasis is temporary. Nothing is ever what it seems, and things can and must change.
There's a lot more of us indie game developers than there are the big publishers. And reality, life is pretty rough, right? For an indie gamer right now in the traditional gaming business. You do service work or whatever you have to, you raise money to make a demo. You have to sell it to a publisher who's going to pay for most of it and then refund before you see a dime. Steam, Apple, Google take 30%. You're basically praying you get a hit to make any money. Otherwise, you basically get it out, it's development, it's work, and you move on to the next project. And so that's one of the many things I love about blockchain games is the what it brings, the independence and the democratization to the developers and the players, right? We can take that 30% and give it back to the players, right? Instead of giving it to Steam, it levels the playing field, and it lets us as developers have true independence to make something we want. And also, from my perspective, it's the next level of community engagement in gaming, right? That's community gaming has risen over the last decade to be this huge thing. And traditional game developers know how important it is to embrace community and social and game developer blogs. This is the evolution of that, right? Because we're going to give players governance and a say in the game, and they're going to have a part of it. That's evolutionary to me.
The positive thing here is that these users made their voices heard for something they believed in and succeeded in making a difference. We may not agree with that difference, but they did. Now, I don't think Web3 in its purest form falls so very far from the values gamers are actually fighting for here. I think it would benefit everyone to listen to what they're actually saying, but not necessarily the way they say it. Because, as they rightly point out, sometimes a game is just a game. That's all it needs to be. But here's the thing. Crypto and NFT heads believe, rightly or wrongly, that they are slaves and that money is a path to freedom. Gamers believe that they're already free and express their freedom through gameplay, through how they configure their gaming rigs. For them, money and economically driven mechanics are the fastest route to slavery. And what right do we have to impose that on them when we're working so hard to escape from it ourselves?
It's very simple. If blockchain is somehow implemented in a way that doesn't seek to extract more money from players, but rather seeks to improve a game somehow or revolutionize aspects of certain game systems and mechanics somehow through the usage of this technology, fine, that's all well and good. But anything that seeks to turn video games into basically pyramid schemes or second jobs, or any implementation that seeks to primarily line the pockets of corporations and their executives rather than providing any tangible advantage to the player, any of that can fuck right off.
What I would say to the skeptics is that it's totally okay. You know, this isn't for everyone. The market's small now. Over time, this is going to become more of a thing. It's not going to go away. It would be in their best interest to educate themselves on it instead of just react emotionally. I think they'll find that they're more aligned with it than they think.
This is empowering creators. It's not, hurting them in any way I see. And there's scammers in every industry and walks of life, right? But with people like us coming into this space who've been making games for 25 years, it's like, we're not scammers, right? We're not rug pullers. We're not here to make a quick buck and get out. I mean, obviously there's incredible revenue potential here. That's real. And there's no question that's a part of it. But again, that's I look at it as a shared thing, right? It's for us and for the players. And so I think they should just take a minute to think about the positives, about what permissionless world means, decentralization, and all these subjects that I don't even hear them talking about.
Traditional ideas of ownership and property, they're being dismantled and reimagined in front of us in real time, at speed. Now you can dig your heels in and fight it, or ask yourself a simple question. What if it isn't all bad? And if you are ready for a conversation, then who knows what could happen. But there are plenty here who will be happy to have it with you, folks like the Open Meta DAO.
What's happening now with crypto and Web3 and the open metaverse is all the smartest people in the world exiting to their own economy. And that's much more significant than video games or any specific thing like that. And so with what we've built, we've just basically taken all that tooling in Web3, wallet authentication, smart contracts, these sort of basic building blocks and designed it to be very familiar for game developers. You know, we dropped it into Unity and Unreal and designed it to be something that felt like a familiar SDK or a familiar game interface. And that will be available for people who are interested in building and developing game space.
Here's hoping we can find a way to figure it out. But if we can't, then to you gamers, I can honestly say, I hear you. This was the Defiant.